I am Pardieu, a holy man.
Hello, my good man. My name is Pardieu, the traveler.
Purdue.
Purdue's.
Hello, I am Pardieu, a holy man, and it's time to talk about Sorcery, Contested Realms. I got the rest of the minor gods from the Hyborian Age adapted into cardboard form, and I wanted to go through and talk about some of my ideas, and you guys can give me some feedback in the comments, and maybe you can get a conversation going. Make sure to look at my other video when I go over the 4 primary gods of the Hyborian Age. But we're going to go through pretty much most of the minor gods, the ones that I think fit well into that could be adapted into cards for Sorcery Contested Realms. So the first one we have is Bel, God of Thieves, or Avatar of Thieves, as we have here. This god was most associated with the Tower of the Elephant, and it was called upon by Taurus, the Prince of Thieves. He's associated. I don't think Bel really has like a true form, but he's associated with like the form of an elephant. I think because of that story. It just rewards you for taking things. I think I forget what I should bring this up. So as you can see, I put in whenever you gain control of a permanent your opponent's controls, draw a card. So I wanted to have something that reward you for taking control of for stealing your opponent's things, which doesn't happen that often. But I think if you got enough effects to build a deck around, this could really pay off. Bel is kind of a real fun, god turned to avatar type of being to deal with. All right, so next on our thing is we have Manaman. This is a kind of a battle mage type god. It's called upon by Conan in the stories, which is why he kind of makes this list, even though we don't really know much about him. I know that he's based on a Celtic myth. He's supposed to like guard the islands and stuff. So that's kind of why I put had him have like 3 power to denote that he's like a battle mage type thing. And then in the beginning of your turn, you may tap a dominion your opponent controls, and it doesn't untap during their turn. So trying to kind of work in some of that different theme of like tapping down, keeping your opponent's control, you're controlling your opponent's side of the board while kind of jumping into the fray himself, as a kind of a different kind of take on on a god. Next we have Sobek, I think it's one of the children of Jebel Sog, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's also associated with Stygia quite a bit. I'm not sure. But anyway, I know he's usually seen as a giant crocodile, but he gives enchantments to the beasts. So I put your avatar enchants the beasts, and then you play a drop a sight, and then I thought this was real fun. Your beasts are spellcasters. Giving spellcaster to all your beasts can open up some real fun gameplay avenues with this particular avatar. So I thought that was a fun, flavorful thing to do. And then next we have Dagon. Dagon is one of the Lovecraftian gods. that shows up in the Shadows over Isthmus, if you're familiar with that story. But he is also credited with being the Cult of Dagon. Also exists in the Hyborian Age, and Dagon's basically a giant merfolk type creature that who's the children of Dagon are come up out of the sea and have relations with willing humans who are kind of maintain the cult of Dagon, and they slowly transform into fish over periods of times. And they're very secretive about their cult. So, player tap a draw site, and then submerged or burrowed creatures get +1. I thought having a avatar that dealt with submerged or burrowed subterranean creatures and gave a bonus to those would be a fun flavor win for that particular god. All right, next we got Ymir, the god of the Frost Giants, and or avatar of the Frost Giants. His mainly shows up in the Frost Giant's daughter. You don't see Ymir, but the Frost Giant's daughter calls out to him, and he sends a lightning bolt to keep Conan from raping her, because he's just nothing else has worked to stop him at this point. So Ymir's there's some giants in the game already. In like Arthurian legends, I'm sure this if you did like a Hyborian Age, there's a lot of like Viking, Norse, like Proto-Norse mythology that's woven into the Hyborian Age, and a lot of giants come with that. And you have Ymir, who's the god of kind of the god of the giants in the north. So I did giants cost 1 less to cast, kind of similar to the Templar avatar, because giants are typically expensive, and so having them cost 1 less, I thought would be a good bonus for them to have. All right, next we have Jill, who is one of the Pictish primal gods. That's like another child of Jebel-Sog. Is the bird avatar, and just kind of pretty straightforward. Plus, bonus to creatures with flying. There's so basically some bird based tribal decks of the Picts in the Hyborian Age, that they worship and kind of exalt the bird. And Jill is kind of the deity that all that worship kind of revolves around. So, all right. So next we got Yog-Sothoth. I know this is already a card from Gothic as a unique creature. You could probably I think there's another name that you could probably pull from, but I think having like a extra-dimensional god that's a great old one, kind of like Yog-Sothoth is described, that gives bonus to the void. I thought it was funny. I was trying to figure out like what bonus should I give. I ended up going with the Ribble Boggart bonus of like a random. Let me see what it was exactly that I know. Yeah, so play or tap or draw site, and then whenever a creature with Void Walk is summoned, it gains one of the following random buff: airborne, ranged, lethal, or +3 power. So I thought that was kind of a fun like bonus that you could probably put with like a Ribble Boggart kind of a bonus that you do to kind of like enhance like the weirdness of and like kind of the unknowableness of the void. All right, so next we got a Jujo. This was kind of the local deity of the island where the pool of the black ones are. And if you're familiar with that story, if you're not, just kind of give a rundown. There's like this pool of like black goo that like these black goo creatures come out and kill people and then drag them back to the pit and their corpses become more black ones, and so they're kind of like this mummy kind of or zombie type of creature, but it's covered in black goo and have like an obsidian kind of a look to them. And a Jujo is the dark deity that kind of is attributed with fueling that that kind of like sacrificial pit, if you will. And is worshipped as a god on that island. So yeah, that's having your creatures become 3/3 black one creature tokens, I thought was a fun, flavorful fit for this avatar. I really liked what the AI direction that particular one went with. It's very, kind of fun. All right, so next we got Ishtar, which is the female deity, female fertility deity that's in the Hyborian Age. Kind of associated with the daytime, is usually pictured as a beautiful maiden, but is the wife of Pator, or Petior, who we'll be getting to the next, who's a bull-headed minion, and so I wanted to give her some like bovine type features, like the horns, as you see in the picture. But one of the things about her is that her blessings are conditional on blood sacrifice, and so I kind of leaned into that as with her. For her abilities, so you have to like sacrifice a beast or a mortal to gain one mana, and so if you're able to make like a bunch of tokens or something like that, and then sacrifice them, and to get like a big advantage on a critical turn, you could do something like that. So, that's kind of the direction I was going with this god, and then as the opposite, as the opposing or complement to Ishtar, we have Petior, who's the avatar of fertility, but it's the male half, and he's associated with the nighttime. And I thought that AI direction, really turned out cool. Having gods show up as part of the night sky, I actually think really works really well in a lot of art direction and stuff like that. But he's usually portrayed as a bull with the ram horns, and is the god of like male sexuality. So whereas Ishtar is associated with like new life and the beginnings of life, Petor, is associated with like the strength of the bull and like the strength of fertility. And like if you're like doing really, really well and big and strong, you want Petor to help make your cattle grow up big and strong, and have your sons grow up big and strong, and have that blessing. And so I went with if a creature attacks with power 4 or greater, you gain a mana as a kind of like rewarding stronger creatures. I thought that was kind of a fun, flavorful win for that particular god. All right, so next we have Yag Kosha, who is the great old one deity that came down to teach men healing, but then was tricked by Yara and imprisoned in the Tower of the Elephant until he was freed by Conan killing him, so that way he could resurrect. And kind of go off to his own dimension. So that's one thing in this like quest to try and do all these AI directions for the different cards. The first AI bot didn't want to depict Yag Kosha with the amputated limbs and broken wings and stuff like that, like he has in the story, and like have it in chains. And so I had to use like a different chat bot to get this image. But I was happy, so I'm happy to finally get to have it turn out like this. But yeah, you have player drop or draw a site, and then healing spells and effects are increased by 1. Because that's, even though he was tricked and imprisoned, this is what he was meaning to do with humanity, is be a teacher of the healing arts. Alright, then we got Erlich, which is a god of the underworld, and associated with death and pestilence, and is usually pictured as a hooded figure with a blighted yellow hand, and is known as Erlich of the yellow hand. So that's what I put in there. The flavor text here: your avatar bears the yellow hand of death. So yeah, not a whole lot to know about him. There wasn't a whole lot of information on Erlich, but had a really fun, flavorful look to him. And then just to represent the spreading of death and pestilence, giving all your creatures lethal. So if you had kind of like a small token deck, all your small creatures could trade up with larger creatures quite easily this way, and you gain an advantage that way. That's kind of the idea with this particular avatar. Alright, and finally we have Varney. Varney is the father of all vampires, and I think is maybe associated with the Jevelsog as maybe like a bat variant of one of his children, I think. But yeah, he's mainly credited with spawning the vampire race. So that's I thought him in vampires, the Dapper Vampire in Sorcery, its attacks heal you, which is a pretty powerful effect, and trying to give that to all of your creatures I thought was pretty powerful, considering how good healing is in this game. And so I tried to put some limitations on it, so that way it only healed you when you're struck creatures. I don't know. I think this as this card is right now, it might be a little bit too strong, and there might be some. I mean, any of these cards that I've kind of mocked up as kind of like rough ideas could be too weak or too strong, and may need to be workshopped. But I thought this was like a good, like, fun place to start. Kind of brainstorming what a Hyborian Age set might look like. So yeah, these are some of my ideas. It took me quite a while actually to kind of go through ChatGPT and other chat sites that I have access to make all these and give it like the correct art direction, and think of like the the different rules text and stuff like that, just simply for each of these avatars. So let me know what you think. Which one was your favorite? Which one was your least favorite? How would you approach this differently? Maybe. Yeah. Feel free to share your thoughts. Just try to have some fun. All right. Thanks.